welcome back. It's a brand new season of CGL.
This is just an absolute treat. These players are so damn good.
The talent on these teams is undeniable. Everybody on every team right now is making plays.
It's going to be an exciting start to the season, and it'll just get better from here on out.
We're about to step to a whole new era of Overwatch esports. So much exciting action is happening here on CGL that you do not want to miss.
Look who's starting it all off. It's Raven. No one necessarily figure out what is the right way to go just yet.
What a nice roll through from Peyton. He's just going to solidify everything from Mythos.
Does come back, and Arsario gets the mech, but I don't need a mech. I'll kill Thor anyway.
This is just a highlight reel for Arsario right now.
They're making a statement in the EU Masters here.
This patch is still incredibly fresh. There's so much to learn, so much to change about the way we play the game.
NKC, but the shatter is colossal.
Let's get it going.
Trades keep coming through. Lores, you're going to be able to find these shots true.
Idu on the overclock with 2.
Here comes an Anvil and immediately goes back to fine skills, slicing and dicing their way through 2, 3, so back and forth.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to CGL. Hunter, we've got a pretty good matchup here in our EU console open tier. We got Lunar Falcons versus Mayhem here to kick off our first weekend of like fully scheduled matches.
I mean, yeah, 100%. Obviously, first week jitters, everybody gets that out of the way. Everyone kind of figuring out a little more what kind of team they really want to be here. And both these teams, one team having the stellar start they're hoping for going 3. And unfortunately, Mayhem having a bit of the distinction of going up against Smelvin Industries immediately and taking it through in that regard. But they're hoping to bounce back, and they have a great opportunity to bounce back against the 1-0 Lunar Falcons. But, I mean, there's early in a stage. Obviously, we have the midseason coming up later on. But how important, realistically, are these, like, early on wins and especially losses?
I mean, losses are never fun, right?
No.
You hate losing, especially when you get 3-0'd. It's not a good sight. But it's week 2, right?
Yeah.
You already said it. These teams are still trying to find out who they are, what they want to be, how they're going to play. And at the end of the day, you still have time. Because even if you don't make the mid-season tournament, like only... 4 or 8 teams make it? I can't remember. No, it's 8?
4. I think it's 4. I think it's 4 with the amount of people we have.
Regardless, it is a significantly smaller tournament.
Yeah.
Less people make it. Most of the teams are going to make it to the postseason.
Yeah.
That's when it's really going to get... Obviously, you can't screw around and just take 8 straight losses, because that'll hurt a lot, but it's still really, really early in the season, so I'm not super worried about anyone.
Yeah, I'm not particularly worried either. Even going 0-2 in the situation, it's not great, but it's not the end of the road by any means. You really have to realistically pick up a couple of wins to get to that postseason and give yourself a real fighting shot. But either way, gonna hope if they're gonna be able to pull it off, and obviously this is today's match, but it's not the only match that we have going on today. This is our EU match, but of course later at NA at 8 p.m. EST, we have Broken 2OP Fan Club versus Effortless Academy. Have different casters for that later tonight, but should be a banger as well. And I mean, generally, Fletch, I'm just pretty excited for these matchups today because, I mean, despite both these teams having different openings to the season, I do like how both these rosters look a lot.
Hey, why don't we get a look at them?
Hey.
First up, we've got the Lunar Falcons here with Zombie and Elemental on the DPS, Terry on the tank, Azure and Igia in that backline. And on the other side, we've got Impurities and the Sky Demon on the DPS. We've got Mayhem on the tank and in that backline. We've got Slayer and Killua. 2 great teams. One looking to get their first win and one looking to stay undefeated.
Yeah, 100%. And they have the possibility to do so. And obviously, when we are at this point in the season where we're not quite at the point where teams are picking their own maps, everything is going to be kind of predetermined up until we get to that mid-season tournament and the playoffs where teams will be able to have losers pick. But for now, it is defined every week, which is, it's a plus and a minus because obviously you know what you have to practice on scrims, you know exactly what you're going to play. It makes the practice a little bit easier, but if you're a team that just doesn't really mesh well with a lot of these maps, especially today where, honestly, looking at like King's Row, Throne of Vanuva Saravasa, Rush can work on a lot of these different maps, but we do know what one giant mechy tank is still kind of sitting around in the meta right now.
Yeah, she got that nerf to the bug, which it's crazy to call that a nerf. But it really is what made her like SSS tier, right? But she still is so reliable, dealing just boatloads of damage, man. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we see the D.Va come back out here for these teams. But with those nerfs and, you know, buffs to some other tanks, I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, we see D.Va or, you know, like a Roadhog. I saw Roadhog the other night. It looked pretty good. But it'll be Ramatra's actually.
Yeah, Ramatra kind of been the other like real brawl tank that's been coming up for a lot of teams. The Ryan's been kind of left behind. The Orisa is still fine. She's gotten the micro ups for the past 2 months, but still not as good as Ramatra, a character that is able to both poke very effectively and brawl very effectively as well. And most interesting of all, both teams going to opt with this Brig Juno lineup, but of course, in true Overwatch fashion, we immediately are going to get a pause here. But the one thing I saw in there, we do see right now that Skyscroll is sitting on the Pharah. I mean, Pharah I still think is pretty strong right now. Hitscan hasn't been particularly strong for a little while, so I think it's still a character that can work really well, but I want your opinion too on Pharah. What's your heated Pharah opinion, Fletch? I bet you have one.
I think she's fine. Like,
well,
she's,
scathing.
Yeah, scathing, right? She's all right. She's not bad, right? But also, the guy's name is Sky Demon. Are we surprised?
No.
I'm not really. I think Pharah is if you're reliable with hitting those direct shots, I don't see why not, right? She's especially. It's going to be a little rough going into Zombie on the other side. A very good hit scan playing that Ashe. I think that the Sky Demon is probably just going to force this and not worry about anything, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's going to work on 2 out of these 3 maps without any real difficulty. Even when we get to the inside on University, it can still work. So if this is their comfortability, if this is what they want to run with, honestly, again, name is Sky Demon. I don't think they necessarily need to swap off of it unless it just gets completely shut down, which is going to have to come down to Zombie. But Zombie can perform, and I think Zombie can take care of business. Honestly, it might just come down to this DPS battle at the end of the day, because if both of them are either like able to poke out these supports or even just put enough pressure on the tank and just force the tank 1v1 a certain way, like these fights can be settled very quickly without any big chance to bounce back.
Yep, and now problem was we didn't get an R. We weren't ready to go in, I guess. But now we do have our 10 Rs, and as we get ready to lead the spawn, nothing is going to change. So, Oasis, for map number 1, we are going to the Garden, and Terry has actually gone over to the D.Va here. So, going over to that, recent meta composition with the Juno Brig and the D.Va. So we'll see if this difference of opinion will matter too much, as the Sky Demon is lit on fire by the dynamite of Zombie, and this high ground is pretty thoroughly controlled by Mayhem for the moment, and now they're going to rotate down to try and jump onto this backline. A great little whip shot there to push them off of Azure, but Matt and Mayhem just absolutely running down. Izia and Zombie pummeled them down, and as the point unlocks, Lunar Falcons are not going to be able to find their fight here, and Mayhem going to take this first fight.
Yeah, and the way this is going to work, Mayhem is, they want to be the aggressive team. Lunar Falcons running this Juno, running this Brig, they're mainly going to be playing on a 3-2 split and trying to play more of a poke style more than anything else. They want to out-rotate Mayhem. They don't want to take direct fights, and Sky Demon doesn't want to go down that early either.
Yeah, Terry able to finish off the damage from Zombie, and now putting all this pressure into the break. Killua not able to get away, but Matt Mayhem and Impurities have something to say about this fight. It's just Matt Mayhem left now, and at 25%, Mayhem are going to lose out here as Lunar Falcons find what they want.
Yeah, you see that 3-2 work out really well, because at the end of the day, they try to aggress, but at the end of the day, Killua just gets left in the backline, and you see Terry and Elemento kind of just bully them in the backline and just basically trade out, and they're able to pick up the fight as a result. But biggest thing, Pulse Bomb's already online, like 60% to almost everything on the table right now, so these Pulse Bombs could sell these fights, and they're gonna get somebody!
Wow, Impurities just chucks it, but Elemento has one of his own. 2 supports dead, 1 from either side, and Elemento has decided to turn it on, taking out both Killua and Slayer here, as the Lunar Falcons are going to retain their hold on this point.
Yeah, and it's working out great. Again, you take that trade every day of the week. You go into that 4v4. It still plays to your benefit because at the end of the day, you are poking more if you're Lunar Falcons. So losing the Tracer for you is like less damaging than it is for Mayhem, who wants to go super aggressive here. So now they have to take this reset. Zombie is going to have that Bob, which means they are going to have a contention for the point if Mayhem decides to get aggressive and just simply go right for it. Sky Demon just wants to have the opportunity to burst out, but is already in kind of a compromised position here. No one is even close to them here, so they're just separated from the rest of the team. And for now, they'll be lucky to live.
Yeah, that's dead. That's a death there, but Bob going to enter the fray here from Zombie, as will the rally from Azure. Orbital Strike from Slayer to try and keep them stabilized here, but it's not looking very good for them, as Zombie and Elemento take out 1 each. Yeah, Mayhem are looking... they're not looking the best right now.
No, because the biggest factor other team needed to be Sky Demon. Unfortunately, Sky Demon is getting shut down by Zombie or Terry essentially every single time. I mean, even Izia is able to go in and just simply deliver pressure to them. So I'm really concerned how this far is going to work out. As right now, they need to focus on the touch, and it's likely going to be Impurities that's going to get that touch for overtime.
Overtime begins here
for
the Lunar Falcons, but the Sky Demon just absolutely chased down there. The rally came out from Killua, but it's not going to be enough to sustain this fight for Mayhem as Zombie rips heads off. This Annihilation is going to find 1 here, but it's not going to be enough to put Mayhem ahead in this fight, as Matt Mayhem going to go down late as Lunar Falcon's going to take Garden.
Yeah, Sky Demon, it's kind of unfortunately like Spawn Demon this first round. I can see the effectiveness of the Pharah. Unfortunately, you're running into 3 characters. That can take care of Pharah almost essentially single-handedly, so it's going to be really rough to still try this. And obviously, I think this is their bread and butter. I think they want to keep running this Pharah, but I don't think it gives you the advantage of the situation, because neither team is really going to change up except for Matt going over to the next to the D.Va as well, which I do think is the right choice here. It means you are going to be able to still play this this split pretty effectively and keep up with your poke. But at the end of the day, Zombie is shutting down so much, and Terry isn't giving the space for this DPS to put into work, and it's just making the job incredibly easy for Zombie Elemento to just do what they need to do before the fight can even really get cemented.
All right. Here you go for City Center. It's the D.Va mirror here. Terry holding control of this high ground. Now going to try and chase down Sky Demon as Matt Mayhem, looks for somebody to fly it on the point. Knows there's someone in the backline. Terry's mech is very, very low here. Can they get rid of it? You see Impurities wanting to go chase down that D.Va, but no luck in getting rid of that mech here for the side of Mayhem. The Sky Demon just trying to keep control, keep it, and stay alive is the name of the game here for Sky Demon. Doing an okay job of it thus far. Impurities and Matt Mayhem trying to find something on this dive, but with Sky Demon going down again first, it's not going to be great. Impurities actually answers the call there with a kill onto Azure, which is, that's great. They don't have the protection for this Juno any longer, so if they want to try and kind of win in this fight, they need to get rid of Izia, who's just kind of putting in the heels.
Yeah, and you see right now, both supports kind of playing on their own in the sideline. Unfortunately, poking a little too much, and now Fletch, I mean, without your Juno, your Brig is pretty much without protection. They have the ability to just run down as they are right now, and this fight is going to swiftly come to an end. Yep.
Matt Mayhem going to lose the mech here, and Point's going to go over to the Lunar Falcons finally. But Mayhem looking better on this map thus far.
I mean, they look better, but again, the split is a little difficult to deal with because typically you would want to do this with something like a Sombra or like an Ashe. Doing it with the Pharah pretty much means you can't do a proper split, and your supports have to play together in this situation, which means if they get caught out while Matt and Impurities are deep in that backline, there's essentially nothing that is going to be able to save them, and we saw a lot of instances of Slayer or Killua being the first ones to go down. And Sky Demon, you know what, taking the words out of my mouth, they do it this time, and now he can't even take a fight.
The answer is maybe, because Impurities finds a really good pulse bomb there onto the Brig of Lunar Falcons here. Matt Mayhem and Killua trying to rotate around to the street side here, trying to find an opportunity to go in even harder. Zombie has this Bob ready to go.
Whoa.
Should they need the touch, as the Orbital Strike and Bob enter this fight. I'm not really sure where Bob decided to run to. Over in that corner as both use this Orbital Strike. Zombie hits his head on the top and is now getting chased down by Matt Mayhem. Gonna be able to take down that Ashe. Has this self-destruct as a second life here. Will use it as they get demeched. Will Terry follow up on it? No, doesn't want to get demeched by the self-destruct there. Now Mayhem rotating around and trying to get away. They still have 4 players in this fight waiting for their 5th. Elemento on this point as we pass the 80%, has the ball. Gonna find the stick. Beautiful. Gonna find a second here, and with Matt Mayhem losing that mech, Mayhem as a whole are looking a little bit lost.
Yeah, the trade there at the end, I think there's only one person who can touch here in the situation, but the one person just lost their life, and that's pretty much going to seal things up here and they're going to see if Impurities can get back. Not going to be able to, though. That's a quick 2-0 for Lunar Falcons. Honestly, they just seemed more comfortable on this composition. You saw they were taking their splits properly. Mayhem, unfortunately, they were just stacking a lot of the time, and their comp isn't one that benefits from stacking. They benefit from splitting, just like what Lunar Falcons is doing. And unfortunately, I mean, one team is just playing the comp better than the other, realistically.
I mean, I think one comp fundamentally is just better than the other.
Oh, well, yes.
I mean, I'm only going to say this one time because I don't want to harp too much on one person, but Terry and Zombie were just absolutely chasing down Sky Demon.
Yeah.
I mean, first blood in most fights was Sky Demon, just because they knew that the Pharaoh was playing alone, and usually in a 1v1, a D.Va is going to win against a Pharaoh. That is just kind of how it is. Sky Demon is obviously committed to this Pharaoh, so I'm not gonna say, oh, they need to switch, they need to do something else. They might, if they're going to commit to this Pharaoh composition, they need to find a way to play around it a little bit better, because right now Lunar Falcons are the ones that are playing around it better than the people that are even playing the comp.
I mean, 100%. And the thing is, like, you have the backline to be able to support your Pharah as well. Juno Brig, they are both fully capable of being able to heal their Pharah as long as they are within LOS. But unfortunately, again, you said it yourself, they're dying near the beginning of almost every single fight. So that value you would normally get off of a Pharah, you're not getting. And you can't do much in that situation. You lose a bunch of your splash damage, and you're in a 4v5. And especially if you're trying to get to a point, you almost have to give that up unless you're just going to dump ultimates to try to win the fight, which fortunately we never really saw an instance of them being able to do that because they were behind in the ult economy almost consistently throughout those 2 rounds.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, early on in the maps, they look good.
Yeah.
But the thing is, with this composition that they're running and how they're running it, it kind of feels like the momentum is hard to grab. Especially because you have one person going down so early in every single fight. That, at its face value, it's going to be hard to win fights with 4 people. But the way that Lunar Falcons is playing this D.Va composition, they know who's split off, they know who's alone, and they're taking advantage of knowing who's going to be alone and where to go. With that, it's like a snowball, right? Because Mayhem looked good in early fights on both of those maps, but as Lunar Falcons kind of saw how Mayhem was going to play both of those maps. They were just like, okay, let's go kill the Pharah, I guess.
Yeah.
That'll work.
Yeah, and it just kept working and working and working. But gonna see if they can replicate that, because we do have our second map set up. We're going to King's Row next, which I think, honestly, I think the Pharah is going to benefit slightly more here. I think there's a lot of tight angles on this map where you're going to be able to play this Pharah to a little bit of a higher degree. It's not going to be as easy to take them down. And even when you go over to the defensive side, if you want to still stick with something like that Brig Juno, honestly, you can just play high ground Pharah and play it like you, almost like you would with it on a Brig. Just keep your Brig consistently on you, able to repel any kind of dive, able to heal them consistently. I imagine that's how they want to play it, but the attack is going to be slightly more difficult going into this one, and I imagine Mayhem is going to be attacking first, because Lunar Falcons are opting to defend, so let's see if they decide to double down on this Pharah composition.
It's not surprising.
No.
We know what they want, but we're going to see the Ramatra here from them. They are in attacker spawn, so, you know, take it with a grain of salt. I think that this is definitely a composition that they would like to run, especially, let's see here, because, I mean, Matt Mayhem plays a lot of Ramatra, right?
Yeah.
So, it's not surprising. I still think I like the Diva comp more, but if this is what they need to do to make this Pharah work, try and figure out something, because what they were doing before didn't. I mean, I can't blame them for trying.
I can't either, but honestly, I think this might be worse. And the thing is that you're dedicating more to the brawl than anything else. But the problem is, who are you brawling in this situation? Who is going to sit on that low ground? Nobody. So they have to force rotations, but with Lunar Falcons, they're able to keep out-rotating and out-rotating and out-rotating. So eventually Mayhem just has to force them to eventually drop down, and that's when the real fight is going to begin. Nothing is going to truly start until someone put themselves in a terrible position, like Terry apparently.
Losing the mech, and Impurity is going to be able to clean that up. Hiding a little bit behind that phone booth, but even with Terry losing the mech, Lunar Falcons have come in swinging here. Going to be able to take out 2, gave up a tick, but it's still not looking great for the attacking team right now. They do get something though.
Oh, and if Matt lives there, maybe they even think about trying to push again, but unfortunately, not going to happen. And now Impurity is going to be lucky to get out of here alive, and they'll be able to not do it. That's so unfortunate, but I mean, that felt slightly better, but honestly, that was just Terry putting themselves in a pretty bad position overall. Like, you need to keep, you want to eventually try to avoid a pincer them, but you want to keep letting them take the time and rotate, because they have to take a lot of time to do so, even with all the speed they have. And again, they're just going to go the same rotation, try to do it the exact same way. Terry's going to be near the same position, but again, this is just going to be eventually time wasted, and Mayhem is just going to keep getting out-rotated.
All right, Immortality Field already invested
Oh
here as well. Terry getting chased down, gonna lose the mech again, and especially now that Elemento has fallen, Mayhem have found their opening here on King's Row A, and they're gonna grab this point.
Yeah, you don't have the body able to throw down and even think about contention, so that will be a pretty decent time. A little under 5 minutes, a lot to work with here. And more beneficial, you're going to be able to do a lot of work on this archway, because Falcons, they are going to be able to play here, but Mayhem just has a little bit more of that punching power to get through more aggressively, especially when they're not too far off from this Ant Matrix. They have this barrage online as well. They just need to make sure Terry isn't going to be able to shut it down so easily, because that DM can outlast it very easily.
Here we go, Terry has to run back up into that window, a little bit low on the mech for a moment. Now has the self-destruct ready as Mayhem gonna get aggressive with this Nemesis form. The barrage good for 1, and that's really all it needs to get. They lose Slayer, but they've won the fight here as Mayhem continue their push.
I mean, this is 100%. Now this feels 100% better, because Skykin isn't the one doing a lot of the opening damage. They are poking away from a far more distance, and they are capitalizing when eventually the rest of Mayhem kind of collapses in, when the attention is on that Ramatra more than anybody else. So it works out really well for them. They get it to this very first corner around here, which is a great spot, but those are things aggressive here. Lunar Falcons just want to push them back, and Mayhem are just going to peel out of there.
Yep, orbital strike out early there. And it's a great job. They understand that, hey, this ultimate can't do anything if we are not near it. So they're just going to back up. But Terry just blows Killua into Timbuktu. An incredible jump there onto the Lucio as Lunar Falcons are going to be able to hold on to this choke now.
Yeah, and now this is where things get very dangerous because Lunar Falcons, they are now settled very firmly on this corner. Terry going to try to find somebody else, and they're going to take that as an aggression as Bob's going to get thrown in. Just another deterrent.
Pulse Bomb out there, Slayer uses the Immortality Field. There will be a trade of DPS here, but with the annihilation from Mayhem in this backline, can they find anything else? The answer is no. Terry going to use the self-destruct to get back into mech, but numbers heavily favoring Lunar Falcons right now. Ooh, nice eat.
Ooh, yeah, amazing eat, and even with the close spawns, it really doesn't matter. And now you use two of your ultimates in return. The rally is still going to be here to shut things down on the Sriracha when he gets super aggressive. Like, Lunar Falcons put themselves back in a very great position here. And you can see already Mayhem wants to get kind of aggressive again and force them to kind of be aggressive as well. Because, again, Lunar Falcons does benefit off of poking, and Mayhem wants to be the faster team. If they keep letting Mayhem come to them, or letting Lunar Falcons come to them, it's just going to keep staying dirty, but that's a great start.
Yeah, the DPS coming together to get that kill onto Elemento. This mech very, very low. Terry, no DM, no boosters. Cannot get away. Gonna go down here. Now, the rally from Azure going to find something.
They typing?
Actually, nothing, frankly. But now, Lunar Falcons getting chased down, getting these stagger kills.
Ooh. Yeah, now they're going to count the point. It could be about like 3.5 minutes, 3:15, which is honestly not a bad time in the slightest to work with here. You're going to be able to get a solid round of fights off. You have your Barrage and your Ant Matrix back online here, but you don't want to get taken down. So Lunar Falcons have to make the option here of how they want to play this. Honestly, I still think they can be kind of pokey about this. Terry needs to be very careful not to be taken down, because if they get taken down, they get this last corner essentially for free.
All right, the orbital strike is out from
What?
CGL, and it's going to be, they're going to try to kite this again, but there will be no luck there as Terry gets the mech. So that's going to be big for later fights.
Yeah, because now they're out of mech, and the thing is that they are super low as well, so they might be able to remech in time. Realistically, they should. But if Mayhem decide to go super fast in this instance, they could have the opportunity to run this down, because without this D.Va, there is no like secondary alternative to being able to stop Sky Demon. It's going to have to be Zombie, and Terry doesn't get the remech.
Yeah, there it is. They chase down Terry. Zombie goes to meet somebody in the Omnic Underworld there. Wanted to meet a friend as Elemento starting to get chased down here. Gonna lose their life. Pulse Bomb not gonna find a target, but Impurity's Pulse Pistols will, as we cross the 2-minute mark here on the Mayhem attack. Terry returns to the high ground. But right now it's all desperation here as Mayhem have 4 ultimates, and there's the first. 2 more Impurities with a 2-piece Pulse Bomb. Make that 3 for Impurities here as Mayhem continue to roll through point C. Self-destruct out from Terry. Gonna lose their life, but Elemento has returned to the fight. Gets the kill on Tequila. Do they touch the point? 3 meters left. You've got to touch the point. Okay. There will be Bob, and there will be Juno. And Bob gonna be able to clean up Impurities. 1.25 meters left, and they blew everything, both of these teams.
Yeah, and honestly, you had to if you're Lunar Falcons. Without that, Bob, I don't know if you actually hold that point. I think Mayhem still has the ability to kind of just run through easier. But now you're in a situation where they're going to swap over to the May. They are completely getting rid of the Pharah, which means they are just hard brawling, and they're going to try to take this fight to the point here and just try to basically run down whoever decides to try to touch it first, which more than likely is going to be Terry. But Azure,
oh my god!
Oh my god.
Mayhem just explodes there, as Azure is going to be able to rip through. Didn't even need the Ant Matrix.
I mean, that's that's dirty. That's incredible.
Goodness.
And now, I mean, now the worry is to finish it. Now the worry is finishing at all in this situation, because you're just ulted out. Sky Team is now playing Mystery Heroes over on the Symmetra. I mean, I imagine they're just going to try to TP on that top left high ground and just try to force the supports off of there, and maybe try to force Azure to use this window early, but honestly, this is their only real shot at it with the D.Va now. Rotating around, they don't want to do this safely.
Alright.
Oh!
Swaps as Mayhem gets rid of the Elemento Pulse Bomb here. The aggression here from Terry. But this Symmetra microwaving on this high ground. They do what they need to do. They make the swaps, and they're looking poised to win this out. Terry gonna lose the mech. Impurities holding this Pulse Bomb, just waiting for somebody to come out of spawn as Terry loses their life, and that will be it. Immortality Field out. Elemental gets the touch here. Can they keep this rolling? Can they find anything here? The immortality field is out, uses the recall here, but it will not be enough as the Mayhem have turned this whole series on its head. They complete King's Row here.
Yeah, without time, but honestly, completing it at all is fantastic in that situation. Honestly, I think overall they treated the Pharah very well. The only time we really saw starting to really fail is when Lunar Falcons really solidified themselves on a corner. And it made it very difficult because, I mean, Zombie just couldn't be taken out of their sight lines. Sky Demon eventually makes that swap over to the May. Doesn't work immediately. They do the sim, and honestly, in that last fight situation, I think that was the perfect choice. You forced Azure and Izia to basically be forced off of that high ground. Azure doesn't pull their window either, so they basically don't get any effective value off of it. So now, Lunar Falcons find themselves against the wall for the first time here, and they are going to be, obviously, they're going to be baiting around a little bit. We know they're... Do they? Do they dare? Do they dare London Spitfire it?
No.
They won't.
No.
Do they dare?
No, they don't. They do not dare. Nobody ever dares to play that guy anymore. This would be interesting, but I think now, like, the Ferret looked great on the attack, but I think on the defense, it could be even better because there's more cover to play around for Sky Demon on the defense.
Yeah.
Like, right now, Mayhem, they're sitting in a good spot to win their first map of the season here.
I mean, yeah, 100%. It's like I said, Sky Demon and Killua are likely to be playing together pretty much the entire time. Again, like a break on the situation. Sky Demon doesn't have to go out in the air. They don't have to take weird flanks. They just have to sit there and deliver splash damage and just not get caught out. And again, if they decide that, you know, they start getting rushed down, you can just get out of there. You out-rotate it. The only person that can go super fast or, I guess, create speed in this composition is that Juno. And they're going to have to rotate onto high, but they're just going to try to play the low ground to start out things a little bit here. Honestly, I like it. Deliver pressure, keep Matt Mayhem on the low ground. I think that's a perfect idea to be able to force this point.
All right. Getting this progress up. May hand over a tick here as you see that Impurities wants to go in on this backline, but Elemento absolutely disgusting there on the Sky Demon as, I mean, Mayhem just gave it to him.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, yeah. Like, it's unfortunate. They're obviously no real retouch is going to be possible here. And it's everything that could have gone wrong for Mayhem went wrong. Sky Demon got cut off completely from Killua, didn't have any heals to work with. For some reason, they were down in Hotel, but now Mayhem needs a chance to kind of really get things going again. And unfortunately, they're not going to have a great opportunity to hold this Archway because they're not close to any real ultimates outside of that. And Sky Demon already is dead!
All right, Elemento in this back line wanting to find some more kills here, trying to find a dive, but it's going to be Impurities, who's absolutely looked electric on this Tracer thus far in King's Row. Pushing, going to go down. Elemento doesn't have any cooldowns at the moment, but right now Lunar Falcons are just finding these stagger kills as they continue to push the cart for free.
Entirely for free here. You see them poking away, getting back, but they got this very first corner for free. They're eventually going to be able to get around to this next one. Sky Demon is trying to find somebody. And at the end of the day, Lunar Falcons have a lot of ults here, and they kind of have to pick at the litter of what they want to force here, because right now Slayer is in a rough situation, barely living that dive.
Yep. Elemento has to use the recall to get away, now being pressured up by Impurities, who gets the better of them that time. Immortality Field has been used. Terry doesn't even need the pulse bomb there from Impurities to go down, and now Mayhem finally, they can have a chance to
That's not
They
good.
can breathe, because the Trace will get back fast.
Yes, but the problem is, Al's coming back with this Bob. They have all 5 ultimates. They just gotta make sure not to blow them all here, but honestly, getting through this choke with the way they are, using a lot of these ultimates, I think could 100% be worth it, because if you break through this is probably going to be the most difficult this is going to be in this situation. They're going to start out with the Bob, and it's just going to basically go in the back line and just basically cause everybody to have to be in a really weird position.
Yep. Now Elemento chasing down Impurities. Matt Mayhem has to use the self-destruct, but Bob! Bob's got better tracking than I do for sure. As Matt Mayhem goes down, they only needed 3 of their 5. And what's best for them, Mayhem also used 3.
Yeah, and unfortunately, they use one of the best ultimates, which is going to be that Amp Matrix. And now for Lunar Falcons, the biggest thing of all here, Sky Demon is going to move over to that Symmetra. I think that was great for their attack. I don't think it's that great for that defense. It'd be a different story if they were going up against a different tank. But Lunar Falcons still have the ability to run you down. They have the Juno. They have that Orbital Strike. You know, Terry does have that second life within the Annihilation. You are not going to win an all-out brawl battle against a team like this.
All right, well, there's the Orbital followed up by the Annihilation as, yeah, Terry is just ripping through the health pools with that damage boost. I mean, Zombie is going to go down. That'll be a good little stagger there. The next fight will be a 5v4.
Yeah, and Slayer's gonna be lucky to get out of there alive. They're kind of pincered out. Looks like they are gonna be able to stay alive here and get rid of Isuya as well. So now they get a proper retouch and what?
Damn near killed the Tracer. Elemento has to stay alive, and now the Immortality Field out from Slayer, taking on the lobby alone here. Now the reinforcements are coming back from Mayhem as Lunar Falcons wait for their own. They have no ultimates, but Slayer has this Amp Matrix as Impurities looks for something in the backline, knows Elemento wants to come into this fight, forces the recall out as the Sky Demon, you know what, can also play hit scan apparently, finds one, but Elemento has gone and killed one themselves here. Sky Demon trying to find something, not quite going to find the headshot there, and it's all blue in the kill feed as 0.55 meters separates Lunar Falcons from completion, and that's brutal. 3.5 minutes for the Lunar Falcons here on King's Row.
Yeah, and this being a completely different story, Mayhem had a couple seconds on that clock here. Lunar Falcons would still have a lot of time, but at least Mayhem would have an ability to still win the map. And now, you cannot win this map. You can draw a best-case scenario, but we saw how fast Lunar Falcons made their way through in that very first instance on their attack. And the worst part of all, you just need that soul tick, and Lunar Falcons last time got it for free because they just forced the point. So they're likely just going to force the point again, and now Mayhem have to consider if they want to do anything differently to have somebody who can settle on that point a little bit easier. But at the end of the day, they look like they're going to be keeping the same thing. Sky Demon on the Ashe to match Zombie. I don't know how much I like that, but at this point, I think it's better than the Pharah. I think you had a plan before. It failed terribly. You have to change it up. I don't think you're in the realm where the Pharah is going to work maybe almost at all at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like even without the Diva, Terry and Zombie were able to just absolutely track. Yeah. Actually, it was a lot of Elemento, too. Yeah, oh, hi.
Oh, hey there!
What's up, Killua? How you doing?
Hey. Whoa!
5, 4, 3,
Alright.
Oh, man, but...
Alright, here we go.
Yeah. Please don't get
Mayhem
shot.
changing it up here. Know that Zombie wants to take that shot, but not gonna let it happen. As the Sky Demon, for the first time, we're seeing on this Ashe. We'll see if it can work out as Impurities. Yeah, able, but also forced to use the recall. Elemento will as well force that recall. Now they're gonna try and chase down. I mean, this Tracer duel has been so heated, but Matt Mayhem has lost the mech here. And now, I mean, is it going to be a repeat? It twice in a game, guys? You just let it happen? I know you don't have a tank, but you just let it happen?
I mean, I don't know about you, Fletch, but if I see my tank has gone down and there's only one tick needed on the point, I know my butt is going down on that point. Even if I'm gonna die a couple seconds later, I'm gonna go for the touch. I'm trying to see to make something happen. Just, I don't get it. I guess maybe just the anticipation that you could keep Matt up somehow. You saw the Immortality Field, but I mean, at the end of the day, just they did the same thing they did last time, and it worked even better than before. Like, they didn't even bother going down for the touch pretty much that entire tick.
It was the same thing that happened on the first defense.
Yeah.
I mean, they just... A lot of the reason that Lunar Falcons had that gargantuan 3.5 minute time bank was because Mayhem just didn't touch point A one time.
Yeah.
It's crazy because, I mean, that is the best that Mayhem have looked, right? Between the two maps, they looked good on King's Row for the most part. But there's just these boneheaded mistakes that they're making. And I mean, they're not small mistakes. They're back-breaking.
Mm-hmm.
You don't touch point A. Like, I don't know, man.
I don't either.
It hurts.
Like, it's one thing with Sky Demon getting caught out a lot. They were still able to make have some sort of effect in this, just not touching the point. And on top of that, making the Diva work instead of the Ramantra, I think in that situation, at least for first point, you need to have somebody who can jump down and anchor that point. And a Diva can do that, but you're going into a Ramantra. That DM is not going to do a dang thing to those punches. That Diva is going to get taken down very quickly. And we saw it happen both times. I really wish they would have tried to match the Ramantra, give themselves a better opportunity to actually have more stabilization on the point to where they could actually stabilize on point and they're able to take these poke battles a little more effectively. Just, I don't know, hindsight's 2020. It is in that situation. But already Lunar Falcons on match point, Mayhem, I mean, they clearly have great points of brilliance where they make great fights happen. They have great ult usage, but it's not consistent like Lunar Falcons is. That's the issue.
I mean, when you've got players like Impurities, like Slayer, doing what they're doing right now, I mean, I can see the beginnings of a really good team here, but it's just the backbreaking mistakes. I think that this is something that VOD reviews will fix, right? Practice, get it done, fix the mistakes. Now, we're going to cut it to a break. They're going to be able to talk about this as we get ready to head into Throne of Anubis. We'll be back in just a few minutes, and we'll see if Mayhem can stay alive. All right, welcome back, everybody. Right now, it is Lunar Falcons up 2-0 over Mayhem. They look very, very good, frankly, right? And, you know, we talked about it a little bit before the break. Mayhem have had their moments, right?
Yeah.
But you can't win matches off of moments alone. They have some stuff they really need to tighten up here if they want to be considered a threat in this EU console open tier. But now, going into map number 3, which, you know, as a new map type, we've got Clash, we got Throne of Anubis, Hunter. I think that this could be interesting because much like we saw with Flashpoint early on in its lifetime, I believe Clash could be a swing map when people don't really know how to play it fully just yet. I think that if Mayhem are going to find their momentum to try and stay in this series, it'll be here.
I mean, it kind of has to be as well in this situation. It's like you said, not a lot of teams have had a lot of practice on this map type. And it doesn't play like super similar to any other thing. Like the most thing I could relate it to would be something like 2CP, because this is essentially 5CP. This is essentially what this is. People called Flashpoint 5CP. This feels like 5CP, but I do think they can take advantage of this map. I think they can take advantage of the slight chaotic nature as well that Mayhem will be able to present if they decide to keep Sky Demon in the sky with this Pharah. Because especially look at that middle point, there is a lot of weird high ground to work with where Sky Demon can be untouched unless, again, they just decide to int onto them, which becomes 50-50 in that situation. So I'm looking forward to how they want to try to play this map, and we're going to go in this situation. Obviously, first to 5 points is going to take it away. Could be our final map as well, as we'll see what both teams want to route out on, and honestly, I don't think we're going to see anything wildly different.
Oh, I mean, that is different. Yeah, I was about to say, Karma coming in here for Zombie, so they may want to do something different as both of these teams are hovering their Ramatra compositions, but Karma specifically on the Venture Hunter. What are you thinking about this Venture idea for the Lunar Falcons?
I think it's a perfect idea. I think it's 100% a great idea here in this situation, especially with the fact that Sky Demon's not going to be on this Pharah as well. This means that this is their own way of playing this composition, of being able to rush. Because both these teams can rush, but Mayhem is doing it the very traditional way with a Bap and a Lucio. That's a little bit limited with, you know, with the Juno and that Brig. I think it's going to work a little more effectively in this situation. And Karma is going to be a follow-up a little bit easier than Sky Demon or Impurities, that if they decide to get anywhere near that backline, they're going to be poked out very effectively. So I'm curious how aggressive Lunar Falcons wants to be in comparison to Mayhem.
I mean, Sky Demon just absolutely chased down, broken by Karma, as, I mean, all Map Mayhem can do is hold the hands up, try to stay alive, and they'll stay alive, but for how much longer, only time will tell here as Impurities gets taken down, and that will be point A, or I guess point C, for Lunar Falcons.
Yep, one on the board for them. 4 more to go in the situation. We're going over to point D here again. A couple of high grounds to work with here. Mayhem could take advantage of it, but the only person that really could take advantage of that is someone like Sky Demon or Slayer more so, and you already see they clear up the high grounds. They're going to force this corner away. Basically not going to give the opportunity for Mayhem to be able to even really get out the gate here, but...
I mean,
Karma,
okay.
Ooh.
Karma cut early. There will be a trade here. Killua goes down and Mortality Field used, but it's a great job converging to take down everybody else. They lose their Venture, but it will be A-okay as Lunar Falcons going to clean up Map Mayhem, go over to the point, and maybe even grab it.
I mean, yeah, I mean, the thing is that Lucio is going to be coming back, but I don't know if you can do it in time here, because the fact of the 4 you have on the point, you can't really contest this, so it's already going to be a 2-0, and remember, if they go and cap all of E, they are going to take this away immediately. Every tick's going to get them a point in this situation, and considering they are going to have a couple of really strong ultimates online here, Terry just has to focus on living.
All right, Terry uses the Nemesis form here. Map Mayhem has the Annihilation ready to go, going to pop it. Impurities Pulse Bomb finds a target. Elementos does not. There will be trades, though. as this fight continues to go through. That orbital strike is great for Lunar Falcons.
Yeah, now you're seeing at least a tick come online here. They're going to be able to contest for the second tick, so it's already going to be 3-0. They're going back in for the contestation, but they don't have a lot to respond with right now. Lunar Falcons are the one with the ult still online.
All right, yep, they're going to touch here. They are going to try and build up to grab their first point in their spawn, and now Impurities trying to chase down Karma.
Like it.
Elemento there as well, and now Mayhem going to grab E in their spawn and go back over to D, but with only one person dead, this fight is going to, you know, get going very, very quickly.
100%. I like the fact that they gave that up. The Sky Demon
Whoa,
just
Sky Demon! Sky Demon just ants his brains out, I guess. That works too, I suppose, as Lunar Falcons find all of the picks in the world, and as Objective D unlocks one more time. You got to imagine that Lunar Falcons is going to cap this out to go to map point.
Yeah, Imperius is still hanging around, going to be taken care of. And now Sky Demon, again, if they're not on fire, they're playing Mystery Heroes. Now they're on the mainless situation. The problem is, though, Mayhem just had the window. Lunar Falcons literally can wait out a little bit and then just bomb rush this backline. They just do 1-0, and they don't have to go. They don't have to do a thing. Lunar Falcons can sit back, take their time, and as soon as that opens up, they're just going to push the 3 ultimates and take this away.
All right, Annihilation out from Terry is going to be good for Killua early. I mean, everything is being thrown against the wall, and you only need one tick if you're Lunar Falcons, and that may very well do it, but there might be another touch here.
Yeah, the peak comes online, Matt Mayhem's there, but again, a rough situation. They're just going to get split off and pulled away very quickly here.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Big pulse?
Terry able to take down 2 here with that Nemesis form as that tick gets closer and closer to coming through. And it will here as Lunar Falcons gonna take Dawn of Anubis and the series. Still perfect on the season. Mayhem fall to 0-2 here. I mean, Lunar Falcons, they just had the better idea of what they wanted to run today.
Yeah, and the thing was, I think Mayhem knew what they wanted to run today as well. The problem is it just got shut down. It just got shut down so effectively to where you as a team need to have a plan B. If you get shut down, you need to have an answer to where, okay, if the far stops working, this is the style we're going to run instead. But they never, like, genuinely had something like that. We saw them over on the Cassidy, we saw them on the Ashe, we saw them on the Mate, and none of that ever worked because it's so clear that this team operates mainly on that far-like composition. Just, Lunar Falcons is a team that did not allow the far to have impact, and when your main goal is your far getting impact, if you don't have a backup plan, you are just gonna basically do what Mayhem did and swap Mystery Heroes and not have an identity throughout this entire series.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. They're very, very committed to Sky Demon at least trying to play the Pharah.
Yeah.
I think that if they don't find a better way to play around it, they're not gonna, you know, be able to have long-term success. They might, you know, beat a weaker team later on because they have some really good players on this team. And this isn't even me saying that I think that Sky Demon isn't good because,
Yeah,
I mean, obviously, if they believe that Sky Demon is a good enough Pharah player to justify playing this Pharah consistently, they need to play around it a little more.
Yeah, it's almost of a situation, like you said, of just dedicating more to it, because if that's the person that is just never going to go off of that character, you want to build around that character even more and create something that's more beneficial to them. I don't know what the exact answer is, honestly, on that situation. You immediately think of, let's throw a Mercy on it. We're not in the days where that's the best answer anymore. Mercy can be taken out, I mean, pretty easily by a lot of the roster at this point, but obviously they still have time. There's at least that.
Yeah, it's only week 2. It's only week 2. Eventually, we can't say that it's still early in the season anymore, right?
Mm-hmm.
I genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, I think that Mayhem can be good.
Yeah.
I think that if they figure out like who they want to be, they can be a threat. Right now, they don't know. But for us here on the EU side, that will do it tonight, though. We have another match in the North America side. We got Broken 2 OP Fan Club versus Effortless Academy, and I believe our Diamond tier here coming up tonight. But for us, Hunter, unless you've got something else to say.
Man, because I mean, I have to thank people that can put us on this, put our lovely faces on here like this. We had a Hippie on the prod. Our observers today were Echo Little Joe and Nikozma. Honestly, I'll say it every single time I'm here. Fantastic work. Makes it very easy to do our jobs here. But overall, it's a great time. It's quick 3-0. It's unfortunate, but we have an entire season in front of us here still. We have a mid-season tournament coming up in a couple of weeks as well. So make sure you stay tuned, and especially coming tonight, 8 p.m. EST for our NA matchup. We'll catch you there later tonight.